so welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing okay. In today's video I am going to be doing another Halloween look that will be perfect if you have any parties or if you've got kids who are going trick-or-treating. Today's look is going to be based on the makeup look that the Joker wore in the film. So I have a reference picture here and I will be doing an in-depth talk through of how I've done this Joker inspired look. We focused. Okay, so here is the picture that we are going to be working with today. If you would like to see how I managed to pull this off, stay tuned. Alright, so the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to get this mop off my face and I am going to put my hair up. So I'm just going to shove this, it into a bun, because the last thing you want is it falling in your face and then we're getting face paint and then we get face paint all over it. Now that that's done, let's get started. Let's get started with the makeup. So the first thing that I am doing is I am using some white concealer just to blend this into my hairline. I am working with two different reference pictures here. If you look at the Celebrity Juice reference picture, you can definitely see a wash of white concealer close to Brad's hairline. I am planning on making the central focus more the makeup look that was worn in the film, but I will be doing a mix of all three. So we've got the more defined look, we've got the more worn in look from the film, and we've also got Brad's Celebrity Juice makeup look that he had for the Halloween special. So what I'm doing is I'm just using a normal white concealer, so you can't stop, won't stop in the shade Pale, or you could just, any white concealer will work, and this will make the face paint and the concealer appear more seamless. If you can make sure you get your ears as well, because if you are planning on doing this makeup look, you don't really want to have a cut off line on show, especially near your hairline, if anyone is wanting to do this and their skin tone appears more warm. And I'm just using a sculpting brush just to paint that on, and then with the same brush from Real Techniques, I am just using that to tap it on to create a stipple effect, because when you look at some of the reference pictures from the film, it looks definitely worn in and you can definitely see some flesh poking through the face paint. Today's look we are going for is the more worn in look, and it appears more softer and it looks like the paint is starting to wear through, and as if it's like similar to when you have your foundation on all day and it's just before you need to top it up. So I'm just putting this all over my entire face, tapping it on with a stippling brush and to create a stipple effect. On my face there is less space on my eyebrows than the rest of the face, so you can just get away with being able to pack the colour on. You don't really have time, you're just smoothing it on, because it doesn't matter, because we are going to go in with another coat as well. You need to be careful because you can't afford to take that colour off. You're supposed to see some flesh tone between the face paint and the hairline. When you stipple around the eyes, it is a good idea to scrunch your eyes up, because this creates texture which again looks more worn in. And because the actor that plays the Joker is older than Brad, he does have more smile lines compared to Brad. So when the scrunching my eyes up and scrunching Brad's eyes, it almost emphasises wrinkles. When I relax my eyes again, if you look at reference images of the Joker, the hairline looks very square and it does actually canvas slightly at the front. Going back in with another coat of that same face paint, we are going to recreate that stipple effect to recreate the more worn in makeup look during the film. Obviously I haven't seen the film, so if any of you guys have, you'll probably know which part I am talking about. Making sure not to remove that additional texture. With the actor Joker, you can't really see the skin necessarily showing through, so the idea is that the top layer of the paint is cracking and coming away a little bit. It looks more worn in, but the colour underneath is still there. So be sure to layer your products for that texture, because it is really effective. Now this part is totally optional. You can take some IPA mixed with a little water, and that's going to blend through both the paint and the cream and create a little bit of a worn out effect. Again, it's about creating texture and that worn in appearance. As Brad is younger, this is a great way to emphasise wrinkles that aren't there. With my NYX Bright palette, you can also use a cream-based makeup or, of course, face paint. We are going to be mixing some shades together to create a bit of a teal colour. Again, you can use face paint. You don't have to use it, but when I've looked at some of the test images on there, it is quite shiny like a cream. And creams tend to wear quite well like this on the skin. However, I am creating more of a softer look. You can still get a good coverage with the flat brush, just making sure to apply a little bit at a time and build slowly, and then you'll probably need about 3 or 4 coats of the eyeshadow on to create that same effect that you would with face paint. And by the time you're finished, you want them to be quite rough. The makeup throughout does vary, so there are lots of variations that you can choose to create them. You can do them when they're a little bit more droopy or more defined. It really is up to you. I would say for the triangles on the brows, keep them at the same height. Obviously, one is higher than the other, and once you've decided which one is going to be the higher one, when you do the little red brows, you can adjust the blue, because that's what I will be doing underneath the lower eyelashes. Underneath the eyes, you are also going to create a triangle, again making sure one is longer than the other, and you'll want to swap a brush for a fine liner brush with a bit of IPA if you want to give a more of a drippy appearance. Smudging it out is a key step, because you don't want to make it look like it's just applied it with a brush and looks more clean. Once you've done the IPA, clean it off and go back in with another layer and do this even slightly further until you are happy with the triangles. Now for the star of the show, I am taking some red face paint to mimicking those classic Joker brows. Just using the reference image from the film that the brows are quite clean, or if you want to do the more disheveled look, then still create the clean brow to begin with. If the structure is not there, I will be painting the nose slightly higher. You can move onto the nose now. It's easier to start working down the face, because if you work up, you can smudge everything. The nose is the hardest part, because my nose is slightly turned up compared to the actor who has a slightly downturned nose. So what I would say is paint what you see rather than try and replicate something that isn't there. If the structure is not there, I'd start with the slightly higher smile line on the cheek. We're going between the earlobe and the nose, putting a point down onto the skin, and then we're going to work from that as our base. This is my absolute favourite part of the makeup, because it starts to come together and you start to get that warped clown-like smile on the face. If you study the 3 reference images that I am talking about, it goes above and below the natural lip line. But anything symmetrical, so what you are painting is and trying to replicate the shape as best as you can, adapting to your face shape. The lips do slightly change as the movie progresses. 1 minute they're smudged, another way they can be more defined. Obviously, I am doing the more worn-in one, so I'm sticking with that. Finally, I'm just going in with some black eyeshadow on a small fluffy brush, blending. I love working with eyeshadows on top of creams because it makes it set, and once you apply the eyeshadow, you can go back in, which just has a little bit more of the cream, and you can soften it. It also gives a beautiful gradient and a lovely shadow, so I am copying some of the shadows on the Joker's face to kind of mimic that on myself. They did also do it on Brad's, because they were trying to replicate age on someone, which, yes, even though we are both in our 20s, we are lucky that we are not at that stage of getting lines. The actual smile line, the majority of this one is on the high smile line, so I'm doing now just laying the eyeshadow down and then blending it out with a brush until it has a mild gradient. It wasn't the polished look, it was the look that you tend to see as the movie progresses, and I've been showing you a lot of the reference picture here, which I think is a really good likeness. I have tried to make this as budget friendly and as product friendly as I possibly can, so I've just done the white face paint and the red face paint, and then the blue under eye I have just used some blue eyeshadow, because I know a lot of you guys, not all of you, can afford face paint. Let me know what your favourite Halloween film is, because I am looking forward to doing a tutorial using a lot more of these. Be sure to hit the bell down below, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon for another video. Thanks for watching.